Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Ezekiel Elliott being released by the Dallas Cowboys after 7 seasons. Ezekiel Elliott started off really good, but fell off in recent memory. He even lost his starting job to Tony Pollard this past season. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. What is your reaction to Ezekiel Elliott being cut by the Cowboys? What I have to say about this is a massive downfall for Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott was once a former top 4 pick in the 2016 NFL Draft. Ezekiel Elliott used to be known as one of the best running backs in all of football. Ezekiel Elliott won Rookie of the Year in 2016. Ezekiel Elliott made 3 Pro Bowls in his first 4 seasons. Ezekiel Elliott even made an All-Pro team. That tells me that Ezekiel Elliott was once really good. Ezekiel Elliott, he used to be the leading rusher in rushing yards. He used to be able to be a bell cow worker. So that means Ezekiel Elliott was really good at what he did. Ezekiel Elliott used to be really good at finding his nose for the end zone. By the way, he's still really good at that. I understand that he was never really a great receiver to begin with, but you look at Ezekiel Elliott now versus when he came out of the draft, it has gotten worse. And when you look at Ezekiel Elliott's skills, you have to wonder, did Ezekiel Elliott forget how to play football? And honestly, it's starting to look like he has forgotten how to play football. Ezekiel Elliott, he only finished the 2022 season at age 27, yet Ezekiel Elliott plays like he's age 35 and on his way to retirement. And I understand that the shelf life of a running back is very short, but the way Ezekiel Elliott fell off is just crazy how much he fell off. Because Ezekiel Elliott, he used to be known as one of the top players in all of football. Now when you talk about Ezekiel Elliott now nobody takes him seriously as a starting running back in the NFL anymore. We give him credit for being able to find his way to the end zone, but anything other than that, you're not going to really take him serious than that. Ezekiel Elliott's yards per carry has been going down. At this point, if Ezekiel Elliott gets over 4 yards a carry, it's like, woohoo, let's go. What a miracle, because the way Ezekiel Elliott runs now, he barely gets any explosive runs. If I told you that Ezekiel Elliott had no runs over 30 yards last season on one play, you would find it hard to believe, but that's exactly what happened with Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, he rushed for 12 touchdowns, but don't get fooled. He was easily washed up and he was easily getting outplayed by Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard was making more explosive runs than Ezekiel Elliott. The way that Ezekiel Elliott fell off, that was very bad for the Dallas Cowboys to have, considering that the Cowboys made one of the highest paid players at the running back position. They gave him a massive 6-year deal, and they basically pushed all their chips into their table with the Ezekiel Elliott deal, and he flopped. Everybody roasts Dak Prescott for making a lot of money, and rightfully so. But at least Dak Prescott is a borderline top 10 quarterback. Ezekiel Elliott, on the other hand, is he even a starting caliber running back in the NFL anymore? No, not really. Ezekiel Elliott is an RB2 at best. Now, I'm not saying Ezekiel Elliott is a scrub. He's still better than a decent amount of running backs. But if I was to ask many fans of many NFL teams if they wanted Ezekiel Elliott on their team, most of them would say no. And the ones that would say yes would say only for the right price. Ezekiel Elliott can go to my team for only a couple $1 million, maybe even a few $1 million, if the price is right, with mostly incentives in the deal. Ezekiel Elliott, now he's a free agent, and right now I'm looking at the free agency market for running backs, and honestly there's really only 2 teams that fit the bill for what Ezekiel Elliott needs. They are the Houston Texans and the Cincinnati Bengals. I say the Houston Texans because that's a team that he could actually get a starting spot on, and I say that because Dameon Pierce is currently their starting running back. He had a solid rookie year, but he hasn't shown any flashes that he can become a future superstar in the National Football League. The Houston Texans were a below average running team last year. If they add Ezekiel Elliott, maybe they could get better, and Ezekiel Elliott's going to have the opportunities to prove himself with those touches that he's going to be getting if he joins the Houston Texans. However, Ezekiel Elliott might be better suited to join a team that needs an RB2, that needs a running back spot to be filled up, just basically show up on third down, show up in red zone, show up in situational plays, possibly be on a contender so he can get a ring on his way out of the door, because it seems like he's not going to be playing in the NFL too much longer. So when you look at it from that perspective, Ezekiel Elliott, he might need to consider joining the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's where I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to go. I'm going to predict that Ezekiel Elliott will end up being on the Cincinnati Bengals because they lost Samaje Perine. The Cincinnati Bengals need an RB2. They need the guy that can get the ball in the red zone, make some solid runs. That's exactly what Ezekiel Elliott is going to provide. He's going to be a good running mate with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon Mixon is currently their starting running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a solid back, but they add Ezekiel Elliott in there that could possibly help out the run game. And Zeke is also a good pass blocking back, which is something that Joe Burrow needs. Joe Burrow needs protection, and Ezekiel Elliott, he could possibly provide that. Ezekiel Elliott, if he joined the Bengals, they're a Super Bowl caliber team already right now, so he could possibly get a free ring on his way out the door. And if Ezekiel Elliott retires a Super Bowl champion, I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy with himself and can cement his legacy as one of the better running backs in the National Football League. When you talk about the last 10 years in the history of the NFL, in an era where running back play has declined more than ever, Ezekiel Elliott can say, hey, I played really good my first 4 years in the NFL, and I ended my career with a Super Bowl ring. How many people can say that? So Ezekiel Elliott, he could possibly make his case for being one of the better running backs in the National Football League. So when you look at it from that perspective, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be the team that ends up signing Ezekiel Elliott. Yeah, they might not give him a lot of money. They might give him a 1 year, $3 million deal, but they might say, okay, Zeke, you go ahead and be the backup running back to Joe Mixon. If anything ever happens to Joe Mixon, you're going to get the bulk load of the carries to prove yourself. But if Joe Mixon never gets hurt, you'll provide great insurance, and you might be able to get some red zone touches because you still have a nose for the end zone. So you got to give Ezekiel Elliott credit there. But overall, I'm not surprised that the Cowboys cut Ezekiel Elliott. It was beyond time. He was getting overpaid, and he just wasn't producing at a high level for the Dallas Cowboys. But ultimately, I see him sign with the Cincinnati Bengals. So that is why the Cincinnati Bengals will end up signing Ezekiel Elliott, as he has experienced a massive downfall in his play. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinTran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.